So this is a really slept upon production technique, particularly around sound design. And I wanted to make a shortish video to have a look at the process because I think you're going to really enjoy this. It's a very creative way to make a track. So let's start with a basic bell melody, which I created a bit earlier. It's very basic, as you can tell. No effects or anything like that happening. And that's super cool. That's exactly what we want. What we want to do now is we want to preserve that. So we're going to duplicate the track and then we're going to freeze and flatten the track. So we're going to create an audio version of the track, which is super cool. But what we're going to do now is we're going to extend the loop. We're going to double the loop to 8 bars. And then we're going to decrease the pitch by 12. And then we're going to reverse the whole thing. Take a listen to how that sounds. So let's just bring a Valhalla shimmer against it. We're going to cut some of the low. We're going to mix it slightly less because it's quite powerful. Now let's just take a listen to how it sounds. Okay, so let's just duplicate that because we're going to do a bit more sound design. We're going to freeze and flatten the track. We're going to turn it into audio again. Then we're going to just bring it back. We're going to reverse it again, bring it back to its original state. Let's just take a listen. Remember, it's still slowed down. Now let's just bring it back to its original length. And remember to bring the pitch back up to its original. So we bring that up by 12. Okay, so if you compare that to the original synths, and let's just compare them. It's a really effective way to bring some of that kind of lo-fi energy out of the track. If you now go into that sample, remember everything's reversed. I do think that sounds pretty cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that again so we don't just lose what we had done earlier, and we will bring that to audio by flattening the track. Once again, fix the warp. Instead of bringing the pitch back up, we're just going to leave it as is. Let's just bring in a Oliver drum sample. And remember, I've clicked drum loop. So we've only got drum loops to select here, which is super cool. It's a really good feature of version 12.1. So I found one that I like. So we're just going to drag that loop all the way across. And we're going to press Ctrl L just to make it loop. Okay, so that's sounding relatively promising, but we want to do a bit of a sidechain compression or a bit of kick ducking. I'm not going to use a sidechain for now because I've got the Kickstart plugin, which is just much easier. So we're just going to drag that into that piano. So that's going to basically duck every time the kick is played. It's not responding to this, it's just going to duck because of the timing. So let's just take a listen. We can increase the amount of ducking, of course. We'll slow it down, but we're going to just leave it. We can actually increase maybe the amount. We don't want to go overboard. We could go overboard, but then we can reduce the mix. Actually, that doesn't sound too bad. Excellent. So the next thing to do now is to get a bass line. So let's just go ahead and do that. So what I'm going to do is going to preserve that and just duplicate that so we don't lose it. Then I'm going to go back in there and select all of the MIDI. I'm going to go and select a MIDI transformation tool called Chop. Let's go in there and do that. So we've got 4 parts, we've got no gaps, stretch. Let's just transform that. So let's just hear that, how that sounds. Okay, so we want that in 8 parts. So let's just select 8 parts. If we want, we can select 16 parts. I like 16 parts. So let's just go into Repro now and we're going to select the synth and we're going to just do a bit of automation here. So let's just do that by pressing A here and we can just see the automation is available for that bass line. It will select the automation possibilities. I don't know how it's going to sound because I'm not listening to it, but let's just take a quick listen. let's just go back into chop and we'll select 32 parts. So we're really going to chop it up here, transform. So it should be a bit faster, but let's just hear how that sounds. I'm going to select delay computation now. Just try adding a bit of gaps. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that advice. If you've got any questions about any of the techniques that I used, I'm here. I'm happy to help. Thanks and bye.